Fear. There we go.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, it's like I was like, oh man, was it like a poor, like terrible situation where like, yeah, we can't pay you money, but here's some beer, so that's good. But I was like, oh, that sucks. Oh, so it's not like, okay, cool.
That would have been a terrible way to tell that story because none of us would have seen it.
That'd have been a real me deal though. Just kind of like, oh, can you pay me to ship all these boxes of dynamite over Colombia? And they're like, do you want a 4-pack of Stella? And I'm like, sold.
Christ.
For the longest time, I'll just give my. Actually, no. Why did you pick this film, Rob?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
I thought something was really wrong there.
So I think if there's any point of us like picking a film every week and us all watching it or whatever, I think one of the points is to try and like shine a bit of a light on films that we've missed, right? And this seems to be a film that everyone's missed, because it was like, yeah, it was William Friedkin's follow-up to The Exorcist, but it came out at the same time as Star Wars, so like it basically just got ignored in cinemas, and it kind of just like came and went, and nobody really paid too much attention to it, which I think is like a bit of an injustice to it, because if you look at like the films that are sort of, you know, regarded as like inarguable masterpieces of the 70s, like Apocalypse Now and like Rocky and whatever, I think this stands beside them, and I think yeah, it deserves a little bit more attention than it's got. I think the stories that were going on backstage are really interesting. So like some of the things that they ran into during production. I think we've underscored production a little bit, to be honest, because like, I'm not saying it's like without its flaws, but those bridge scenes, man, like you would not be able to do that now. And also the explosions as well. Like Michael Bay can get fucked because he's never done anything half as good as any of those. Yeah, I just think it's a really good, really underrated film, and I wanted us all to see it together. And plus, with William Friedkin dying a couple of weeks ago, I thought it was a good time to pick it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Just because Ben's strapped for time, do you want to go first with your first impressions?
Thank you. Yeah, sure.
You're welcome, sir.
Yes. The wages of beer rages on. I think I'm the only one, apart from that had already seen this film before. So because it's one of my dad's favorites, because he saw it in cinema when it came out, and he liked the original film a lot, and he went in thinking like, wait, they're doing a remake of Wages of Fear, but it's not called that. But I think in a lot of ways it has its own identity, and it's quite a very different film to what that was. If you've seen that, I've only seen that once ages ago, and I do have a fondness for it, but this one has the impact for me just because it's more visceral and more kind of like what Alec was saying, nerve. When he said to me in the chat, it's nerve-wracking, nail-biting, it's all those things, and really kind of like it's a brilliant masterwork of tension. And I think that's the reason why I remembered this one so well, and I have great fondness for it, and it's probably one of my favorite freaking films.
Yeah, it's your favorite freaking film.
Yeah, it's a freaking good one, man.
Favorite freaking film.
Yeah, and it's watching it again now. I think the first half, it's a film of two parts. It's two halves, because the first half is all build up and laying the groundwork, setting up the characters, showing you who's who, just put on the pieces on the board, and that's so integral to why the second half works well, because you're invested in these characters that aren't really likable. You don't really like any of them or relate to many of them either, but you're still invested, and I feel that's quite an impressive achievement for a film to kind of like make you root for very like unsavory characters, because every one of them has like either a dodgy past, or they've done something really questionable and morally wrong, or something about every one of them is kind of like eyebrow raising. But that's what makes it interesting, and that's what leads for them to do such desperate kind of like unflinching things most normal people's sense wouldn't do. But that's why it's great. And the premise is just fantastic anyway, because it's just like straight out of Thunderbirds. You have to take this truck across the country. There's explosives on the back of it, and if it moves just slightly, it just blows up. So it's just amazing, that concept is alone is great. And there's so many great set pieces and moments that really work so well. And like we're saying, it's kind of like the production is so impressive considering it's all real. It's not just green screen, blue screen, CGI. It's not even on sets. It's all location, and practically just makes it all more impressive because of it. And yeah, it's not an enjoyable watch, but it's a really engrossing one. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. It's a great pick. Well done, Rob.
I think what you said about the tension of the explosives in the back of the van, like I think that this is so good at creating that tension that there was a point where it's when they very first set off and they're like in the van sort of doing that, and I'm like, shit, don't move too much. And then I sort of had this panic where I was like, what's going on with the boxes? And then they showed that the boxes are like sort of, they're sitting on top of sand, and it's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, I think I dislodged a filling or something just watching the bridge scene. I was just like, just like every time they're going over just like these just wooden structures that are all just kind of disintegrating under them. I was like, there's still another truck to go, man. Like, yeah, I was really, really impressed with this. I felt like it. I remember, like, I was watching it with Eb the first time, and it was just doing the little vignettes at the beginning, and Eb was just going like, "Do you have any fucking idea what's happening?" And I was like, "Yeah, there's 4 stories, and then it'll go into the main story." She went, "Right, cool." But it's just like, I thought it was funny, like going in like not knowing that, because it's just kind of like assassin comes in, shoots bloke, fucks off. That's the end of that bit. And then it's like terrorists blow up building, one escapes, everyone else gets caught or shot. Next one, we're in France. And I was like, what the fuck? But no, those little vignettes are actually like really, really. I like how they sort of expand in terms of sort of like, I don't know that. Well, the first one's like really, really short, and then the next one's a little bit longer, and then the next one's a little bit longer than that, and then the last one's like the main character, and I was just like that, and that's the longest. And I feel like that's a really like nice way of sort of structuring these things, and then just going like just plonking them in Colombia for a bit, and yeah, really novel premise, really tense. I'll send you my dentistry bill.
I was going to say it's a good job we're in the UK, but that's not covered, is it?
I haven't gone to the dentist in years, you say.
What? You need to go once every 6 months, people.
Oh, then you're gonna tell me to floss and shit. It's not happening.
Floss, interdental brush. You got brushes that reach to the back as well.
I can't remember the last time I went.
Oh man.
I brush mine once a week, whether they need it or not.
I mean, I went just yesterday and I had to pull out a wisdom tooth, so you know.
Oh shit! Really? That's
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
So
man.
it's I mean, I got stabbed by like 6 individual needles about all the anesthetic, so I couldn't really feel it, except for when he pulled it out. Then I was like, all right, it doesn't hurt, but I could actually feel him pull out the tooth.
Yeah.
So you know.
It's scary.
Oh man, that puts me off going.
I
Oh.
I had mine done probably 2 years ago now. They had to give me more than usual. He's like, "Can you feel?" I was like, "Yes, I can still feel what you're doing." It's like, "You shouldn't be able to feel." I was like, "Yes, I can feel."
Yes.
Just try. And then I had a pain reaction. He's like, "Oh,
It's exactly
why you
like
react?"
proper dose, because like
He's like, "Okay, we'll wait another 15 minutes." He's just like,
Oh man.
yeah, it hurts. It's like in retrospect, kind of like it's painful to see, which which is the problem I had with this movie. I get what you guys said about the tension. I understood. Like, I was like, oh yeah, the way they Ross a bit too much. Then I was like, yeah, that doesn't make sense because like I get that they put it on sand, but did you see how the fucking truck moved? It went like that, and I was like, no, they should be dead already. Then it was like then it was building up the tension until like the last part of the movie. Then essentially it's gonna sound very terrible, but then afterwards they Lord of the Rings it, and it's like you had a helicopter. You had a helicopter. You could have fucking flown to Gondor and dropped the fucking ring.
No. They
already addressed that.
Did they?
also
They addressed
that
it-
shit for
they
Lord of the
addressed it
Rings
at
as well.
start. No, they addressed the helicopter at the start because there would have been too much vibration, and
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
He said
and the amount of like space that you would have needed between the helicopter and the boxes, turbulence would have been a problem in anyway.
Okay, fair enough. Because like, again, I had to do it in halves because I've been busy all week. But it's like, I saw that scene. And I was like, did they Lord of the Rings it? But if it's been explained, all right, fair enough.
Now, hang on a minute.
Fair enough.
Hang on a minute. That's not a thing. Lord of the Ringsing it is not a.
It-
I should have got
okay,
the Eagles to go and do it. No, it's retarded.
But that's what people say, and it's like I kind of like get what people say. It's like, but
No,
in
it's-
any case,
No, Simon, you're not shying away from this. All right, they can't send the fucking Eagles because otherwise, Sauron will see him and they'll shoot him down. He's got fucking dragons, hasn't he? There's no fucking point. That's why they have to send these teeny tiny little fucks to go through the mountains and all that. They can't just have these big fuck off eagles coming at them from a distance. They'll just get blasted and then they'll lose the ring. Everyone goes like, "Oh, the Eagles." Stupid.
See what you started.
I know. All that means is we're just gonna watch Lord of the Rings now.
Oh,
Is that
no.
a musical? Oh,
Don't
is that a musical? We're gonna watch it. I've got to pick a musical still, right? I don't know. Is there a
I
Lord
think
of
you
the
said,
Rings
is that
musical?
unethical? And from my point of view, yes.
Okay.
There is a Lord of the Rings musical that has been on stage 10 years ago.
That's mad.
It is.
I'd give that a go.
Really?
It is good. I did remember enjoying it when I was younger. It was,
Oh, you wouldn't see it?
yeah, it was only for like 6 months. It was pretty damn good. They did the trilogy in one
That's it.
what was it, 3 hours split into 2 parts.
Okay.
That's very interesting.
You
It
could
definitely
have
glossed over a lot.
Yes.
You could.
The only way they could if they got the Eagles to take Frodo all the way.
Which would have been
But
Anyway.
also in any case though, for this movie, I felt like it was gonna go to a more Peros, or what is it? What's that name of the film that you guys chose last time that was set in like South America?
Amores Veros.
Amore. Oh, sorry, my mistake. I thought the way that the story was structured was going to be like we're going to see how these people had their story to connect to each other. But I feel like their stories weren't properly established. I feel like their backstories were a bit like it was literally like the first scene is a statue, okay? Then a guy gets shot. I was like, okay. Then after it goes into the next story. I feel like their backstories should have been better established. I feel, and it became the build-up, the structure for the build-up was a bit shaky, if you know what I mean. Because like then you had like the French guy, you had like the debt, but he's like you could have sold the Porsche right there that he had with his like brother-in-law, and maybe they could have like paid for some money for the fraud. And I'm like, you could have done it. I feel like there was a lot of shit to do, right? And I feel like everything that was structured around it became a bit.
He could have. Sorry.
So,
He could
have
have compensated 15 million francs by selling a pre-owned Porsche. That had
no,
the back window blown
could've-
out and the previous owner shot himself in it.
No. That was obviously before he shot himself on it. That's the whole thing, right? But, I mean, once you got the blood on it, it's like, no, it's like, yeah. But it's like in any case, everything else was like the structures for each person was like not what as like I feel like wasn't like as well established as it could have been for each background for each character and their backgrounds. Sorry, and like
you're given what you need though, because the first guy is just an assassin, and you don't need to know any more than that, other than if he's in a position where he needs to kill someone, he will kill someone. And then the terrorist, you kind of just you need more information for the banker and the getaway driver, but you kind of don't need as much for the other two. You kind of get the information you need.
I think
like I would have liked a little bit more.
I
feel like it was.
I think, to be honest, it comes down to like William Friedkin and the way that he makes films. I think it's one of those things that you can take it or leave it. To be fair, like it doesn't work for everyone. But if you watch some of like the making of The Exorcist and some interviews that he's done since, the main conflict between him and William Peter Blatty, who was the guy who wrote the book, and he actually directed The Exorcist 3 himself. But the main conflict between the two of them was that William Friedkin wanted to do something where he's just like, here's the key points, you work it out on your own. Like he's very much of that kind of like belief that if you're watching a film, you should be doing some work for it yourself as well. Whereas William Peter Blatty was like, no, like we have to make it very clear that the devil didn't win and that God was like the ultimate winner in all of this kind of stuff. And William Friedkin was like, no, people will take what they bring to it, and that's good enough. Like that's all you need. That's all you need a film to do. Somebody will come in wanting something, and if they take away what they wanted, then that's up to them. So so I think William Friedkin is very much that kind of filmmaker that's like, he'll present you what he thinks you need, and it's up to you to put it together. But yeah, it doesn't work for everyone.
And I say the devil won because there's no way that the priest could have got from that window down those stairs. That's bollocks. They kept showing it. They kept showing how far away it was. He couldn't have done it under his own power. The devil won. Anyway, continue with your points, Simon.
Sorry, I was just saying maybe it's because of his like filming style. I felt like there could have been a better space and structure for it, like because of the getaway driver's like backstory and the characters around his backstory were interesting. You could tell like when he went to rob the church on bingo night, and you could tell the people getting married, and afterwards it was like a shot of like the bride, but obviously she's got like the black eye. You're like, oh shit, it's like obviously a rough sort of place that they have there, and like the type of people they're dealing with are obviously terrible people as well. And he's like, that had story and that had like it wasn't like fully laid out to you, but it had more, you know what I mean? The first two characters didn't really have more. It was like I get what you're saying, that they needed to do what they needed to do, but as like because of that, when like the terrorist guy just died, who was like, oh, he died. I mean, did I care about his character that much? I didn't really. It didn't really develop that much. You know what I mean?
If I could, this is sort of what Rob was saying about Friedkin, because you actually get you get a lot from like just his character. Like you don't see, well, you don't hear him say a lot, but all you know from his backstory is that he was a terrorist. They were hiding out. They got found out, and he had to leave them. Okay, so when they're in Colombia, he's actually got like a friendship with the old bloke, and he's very pissed off when he finds out he's been killed because he suspects the assassin. He reacts like quite violently. He's the one who, like, he generally kind of like has like an angry reaction when he's like put under pressure. But when they get to the tree trunk, he's the one making the bomb. He's the one coming up with the idea of how to like do the mechanism. He's the one staying behind, even though he's injured, because he's had to leave people behind before, and so he puts it kind of on himself. And you don't get a lot of dialogue out of him, but I think there's a lot of action from him that I think Friedkin's making you work to put together. It's not spelled out, but I think it's there.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I'll give you that. Maybe it's not spelled out, but that makes it like one of those films that you maybe it's because I've only watched it for one time. I might have to go rewatch it a couple of times to go, right, yeah, I see where each character development and each section of where they have their character arcs and their character developments and their bond and the bond between each character. But if it's like because this is the first watch, I mean, like, I get it, but it's like, and
this is why I think just doing one watch is really, really limited. I think you only get.
Fortunately, I just had absolutely no.
You're busy. I get it, but like, yeah, I think with something like this, you do miss stuff.
I think it's fine.
Yeah. Sorry, man, you said again?
I said I think it's fine.
Oh, okay. So it's not good. It's fine. Okay. Okay.
Oh no, I
Okay.
mean fine to like watch it once.
Yeah.
But saying that, I was, as usual, I'm watching it. I said watching it. I'm now I can't think of my words. I'm so sorry, folks. I rewind it multiple times, and when I missed something, because that was the thing, the audio was bad in this film at points. I was just like, I wish they would just give me freaking subtitles.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The subtitles were fine when they had subtitles, but when I was watching on Amazon, it was like, but why is there no actual subtitles? I kind of need it because everything is either too loud or too quiet, and it was like, oh fuck.
The only like vignette I wanted subtitles for was the fucking Irish people, because I was like, what are they saying? Absolutely.
Yeah, same here. Is there?
Yeah, I don't know why Amazon don't have them, but I think Amazon make their own sometimes, which is why they're crap.
Apple TV didn't have subtitles for the general stuff either.
Oh, really?
They only had the stuff for like when they're actually speaking in Spanish for quite a bit. Where did you watch it?
Yeah, no, I watched it on Amazon, and they also did not have general subtitles, only subtitles for like the Spanish and stuff. So it was like, I was like, what is he trying to say? I heard him mumble something about like a Coke or something. I don't know. What the fuck is he trying to say? And it was just like, I struggled a bit listening to certain things, and I'm worried about it. Maybe because I watched it and I struggled, and I might have missed some dialogue. If that is the case, fucking god damn it! Then I have to watch, like, buy the DVD or something and get the proper subtitles. I'll be like, fucking hell.
Yeah, I find that really weird. I don't know why they'd stream it without subtitles.
Where did you watch it, Rob?
Oh, I've got it on Blu-ray.
Because he's a nerd.
That explains everything. Yes.
Anyway, who hasn't done opening statement yet?
Skip me.
Okay, go on, Pat.
Nah, skip me because I was distracted throughout most of it, so I have to watch it again.
Oh.
I'm only here to listen.
Oh, I thought you said hit me. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, I thought you said hit me.
No, I mean the only bits I really remember is the scene where they're going over the bridge, and it was quite tense then. But because I was sort of in and out of it, like beginning of it, I thought I had the wrong film because it was in a different language so then I went away looking to see if I had the right one, and then obviously I forgot to pause it, and it was like 20 minutes later, and then I was off doing other bits. I was like, I've missed a chunk of it, so I'll just jump on the call, listen to you guys, and then I'll watch it either later tonight or tomorrow.
Fair enough.
Yeah, same. When oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I did wonder how many people would think they got the wrong film at the start.
Yeah, it is a to kind of add to that. Like I think it could have been written better and kind of joined together better. I don't necessarily need to know more about what's going on because they told me everything was going on. Yes, because of the sound being bad and me being tired and having to rewind and rewind. I get that you had, I don't know about the terrorist thing, so maybe I missed something completely. But obviously you had the fact that they were getting done for fraud at least. And didn't want to add bribery to the whole thing. His father or father-in-law, whatever, he's like is gonna bail him out, but obviously doesn't. And then the brother-in-law, whatnot, does himself in. It's like, okay, but it's just a hard kind of cut. Wait, who's this? What just happened? Why is it? Why you just cut like that? And sometimes the way, oh, there's even a scene when I can't remember who it was. I think it was in the French part where they're just, talking in the bedroom, and then suddenly hard cut. It's in a car. It's like the way this was edited. What is this? It's that outside random bits like that. The production was great. It's just it's like, oh, there was another part when they're talking when I don't know it, I don't think we know the names, but when the guy who's tasked with finding drivers, so when that guy is first told by his boss, oh, like that whole kind of part where he's telling him what this letter says and everything. The amount of times I had to rewatch that, it had the same problem Christopher Nolan films have. I'm just like, dude, make the audio clearer. I can't freaking hear what they're saying. So I'm
Hey,
having to do it multiple times.
Nolan's a master, all right?
He does it on purpose, which is annoying. But anyway, oh yeah, it's that I'm just like, okay then. Yeah, you can carry on. I'm gonna come off the call and come back on. Sorry, I'm just trying to sort something out.
Oh, no worries, man.
Oh, that's cool. I'll be saying my goodbyes now, guys. So see you next.
Enjoy your holidays.
Yeah, thank you. I'll see you.
Yeah, see you later.
Have a
Make good
good.
choices.
Yes, I will. Have a good time. Have a good call. See you later.
Don't do anything I want to do.
2 steps ahead. Bye.
Miss him already.
Fuck you, so
In any case, where was we? It's like, I guess it's.
It's like fishing.
Nah, this was more like fishing with dynamite. So I don't know. It's
That
just
is a thing, isn't it?
yeah, that is a fishing thing. I remember seeing people. There are people who fish with dynamite. I don't know. It's just like everything that happened in this film. I guess it had its sort of purposes and stuff, but I just maybe because again watched it once, didn't get along with it that well, and I was like, I mean, like, yeah, okay, I get it. They got the bomb guy to make the bomb, and they had the guy
Guy of bomb.
by what
Never mind.
guy with bomb? Yeah, okay, not bomb guy. They the guy with the
person
bomb.
with bomb, not bomb guy. Person with bomb.
Okay, the person who has the pronouns bomb. Yeah, okay, sure, okay.
He's the bomb.
Bomb slash
Okay.
boom.
Okay then.
Okay, no mind. Okay, I won't even continue that line of joke. But in any case, I get the characters and what they were supposed to play, but they became very like boxed in for what their characters were, and I think maybe that's kind of the point of it. But it's like their characters did what they needed to do, and once they're done, just okay, next set of characters, the next set of things, because like people at the facility there, right? Yeah, who when they went to eventually up the hill and shit. Did they know that there were people trying to rob their like supply trucks and shit? Could they have like gave him like a heads up beforehand? I don't know. I feel like there was like a bit missing there, and I was like, I mean, like, if you know,
but they didn't know. But it's also not surprising of the time. Like it would have been a known thing that you do get like local militia and stuff that would do things like that. They were probably the same people who bombed the oil place in the first place, because they were saying that the like militia and whatnot were obviously bombing oil places, you know, to kind of fight back against the Americans coming in and taking oil, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense because like if I mean, it's like one of those things where you maybe have to like rewatch it again or do what you did, Emmanuel, and like pause, go, wait a second, rewind a bit, watch again. Oh, okay, yeah, okay, no, maybe I should have done that because like it was just certain things about it. I was just like, did they not know? Maybe, but I was like, if I had to rewind, I'll probably have to go. All right, let's go back half an hour and watch it again. And I don't want to do that. I was like, it's no time. I was like, I feel like there were certain contexts missing, and because like maybe I missed the context, I was like, that didn't make sense. Did that not make sense? Did that make sense? Why would they not send more people on? Like if they had like armed guards people, and that's like.
I think the thing with bandit attacks, you don't generally know when they're gonna hit.
But if you know they was gonna get hit, then they should have had someone.
If you have a map and you've got a little cross that says bandits on it, I feel like they're pretty shitty bandits. You kind of don't know when they're gonna hit you because they know the mountains and they know the terrain and they're gonna just hit you. So you might as well just go like you might get hit with bandits anywhere.
Well, I guess that's the point though, Alec. If you might get hit with bandits, why did you not give them like some guns or something? You know, it's kind of like I get what you're saying. Why would they carry guns if they had like dynamite with them?
I definitely wouldn't be giving people guns.
But as like if you know that there were potential bandit attacks, they could have like find a way to like protect themselves. But it's like it's like that's like I guess you could say it's a nitpick about it, but it's just like
because they're in Colombia as well, so they have very, very limited resource.
Yeah,
so you don't even know if they have any guns to give them because they've only got one. They can only give them like 2 machetes or something.
Yeah, because he's just like only one. No, we need more than this.
It was he pulled out the machete, such finger wood. I was like, nah, fuck this.
And
on the floor. Get the bigger machete. I cracked up.
And let's be fair, they are crap machetes.
Yes,
they are the shittest machetes. When Frenchie is going through those little branches on the bridge, I was just like, this is crap.
I do love that scene though, man. Like when they're like obsessively just trying to like chop away. I just thought that was wonderful. And then like the solution that they come up with is just so like I think it's one of the things that adds to it being like I was gonna say this earlier when you talked about character development and that kind of thing. So because I think that stuff is there, but I think it's set up in a way almost where like it doesn't need to be, because it's more that you're sort of like it's less of a character film and it's more that you're having an experience with them. So like when little things like that happen, like when they set up that little contraption to like set off the nitroglycerin like at the exact point that they needed to be set off and all of that kind of stuff, like for me I'm watching it because when they're in the trucks and like you've got all of the sort of like all of the shaking going on, and you're thinking like, holy shit, man, like when's this gonna blow up? Like when all that's going on, I'm just thinking like, man, imagine being in this mess. So when you get those scenes where they're like setting up those little like devices that they're just making out of like sticks and stones and whatever, that's where I'm going like, shit, man, this is badass. Like this is exactly like the kind of person you need in your team for this. And it's almost like you put yourself as like the fifth member of them, because you're going like, oh, it's so good that that guy's here, and then it's like, oh no, I'm not part of this.
Yeah.
You almost made it sound like Nick Fury Avengers. Like I had an idea to set up this team, and I was like, that speech sounded very familiar. You made yourself Nick Fury for just a couple of seconds. I was like, let's not go into that. But yes, I feel like I get what you're trying to say. I still think that certain characters had more development than the others. Like again, with the French, I think the French guy is like, well, like my favorite character. I kind of prefer him compared to the rest, because it's kind of like, well, I fucked up, and like I tried to sort things out with everything. And like, I need you to give this letter to my wife, and it's like, yeah, but it's gonna take a month. Yeah, but I'm trying to send a letter to my wife. I get it's going to take a while. So just give this letter to my wife. Fucking hell. And it's just like, it's like, and it's like, admittedly, he fucked up. Admittedly, he died. But it's like, well, at least he tried. And like, you can't blame anyone for trying, The trying is like, he tried.
To be honest, I find his story heartbreaking. Man. I think it's brilliant. Like the bit. Like,
sorry,
the bit
Emmanuel, you joined twice. It just freaked me out for a second.
That's bad.
I was like, what? Okay, sorry, Rob.
No, this is evil twin. When he puts the glass on, he's evil, Emmanuel. Evil Emmanuel.
Okay, fucking hell, that's a Ben level pun there. Sorry, Rob. Didn't mean to cut you off. Go on, what are you saying?
No, you're right. Yeah, no, I think the French guy's story is brilliant, because it's like that whole bit where she gives him the watch and then he tries to sell the watch later on, and just like, I think he's the one where you're going like, man, this guy is in a situation where his life's basically over, so why not do this?
I think that's the thing that I like about all of them. Like, none of them come from anything that is like that nice, and they're not necessarily nice people, but that doesn't really matter. They've got a job to do, and they're stuck in the rainforest. They got to work together, and that's kind of it. Like, they can't really get bogged down in these, like, whether they like each other or not. And but like, yeah, I don't think I agree with like this whole thing of like they all need to have as much backstory as each other. Like the assassin guy, he's kind of designed to not. You don't know much about him, but he wouldn't give any of it up. You wouldn't get much off him if you tried. Like, he's just a fucking gun, and that's all you need to really. Whatever sort of thoughts he has, they're his own. He doesn't like really share things with them because he's a fucking assassin. Whereas the banker and like the getaway driver, you kind of need a bit more context for him. And yeah, I think the banker like is actually like the heart of the film, really. And so it's like that much more devastating when he's not even talking about Paris much. He's just going like, oh, it'd be 9:05 in Paris. And then he has the big blowout and the tire fucks up. And
I mean, I get what you're trying to say, but I would have liked a little bit more. I feel like it was like I could have been like a little bit more. I mean, it could have been more. The guy comes into the room, shoots a guy, and leaves. It's like, okay. I feel like it's also okay. This is actually a conversation I need.
You do get more though. Why has he come to Colombia? Why is he? Why on earth has he decided to come out here? Why is he like bribing people? Like, does he actually have a passport? Or does he like do all of this like kind of by himself? Like, what? Of all the fucking places you could go as an assassin, you've got all the money that you'd ever need. Why are you in buttfuck rainforest fucking crap ass like shit shack place? Like, why have you come here?
To meet the Sorcerer,
Yeah.
that was established as the title of this film, which I've read, and it's supposed to be the Sorcerer is supposed to be fate, and I read that on the wiki, and I was like, the fuck? What the fuck does that mean? And I got confused again. So it's because like I was reading on the train back, and I was just like, the source. It's like, what? Who is the Sorcerer in this film? I was like, I don't know. I don't get it either. And I was like, yeah, it's supposed to be.
It's
fate.
it's nature. It's fate. It's like
it's really thoughtful if you like give it the credit, because it's because William Friedkin talks about how he sees fate as like this. He basically talks about it as like an evil wizard that you've got no control over, and at any point something could be waiting around the corner that you've got no control over. So he said he became fascinated with this idea that you've got no control over who you are when you're born, and you've got no control over who you are when you die. And yeah, I think when you look at it like that, it's really interesting, because that's where all the tension comes from. It's that none of them have got any control over the situations that they're in now, and now that they've agreed to transport this nitroglycerin because they've got no control over the situation that they're in, they've got even less control over how they're going to die. And then you've got basically an hour-long sequence of these trucks going where you're going like, holy shit, this is going to blow up at any minute. And then you get to the end, and then the sole survivor is killed off screen anyway. It's like,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, man, like,
which is, and can I just say, you say you don't have any control over it. The one guy who does is the assassin. The assassin injects himself into it. He doesn't need to be in Colombia, and he's not even picked for the job initially. He injects himself into it, and I don't even think I see him drive at any point in the film. So he's literally just gone there to go and like, he's just got to go and get the reward, basically.
So
so that's what actually happened with him. I didn't know he was in. I didn't. That's why I could get why he was there. So it's just like, what's going on? Like, it was someone. Okay, cool. Okay, just wants to get the money. All right. I never even really thought, oh, he wants to kill. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm trying something. I'm using my phone as the camera. That's the webcam.
Okay.
And the mic, but anyway, I'm still trying to do that. But yeah, I was like, so what was the point of that? I guess he was here for the money. I didn't really think he was really there to kill like the Americans. Unless he wasn't there to kill the American, was he there to kill the French guy?
No, he literally didn't get picked for the job, and he killed the German guy just to be on the job. He was there to just get the money and fuck off.
Yeah.
So he was fate. He was the Sorcerer. I think is that what he's portraying? I don't know.
Well, I think it's playing into this whole metaphor of like, you don't have any control, and he does. He's the one guy who actually does. He's not, you know, he doesn't need to be there. He chooses to inject himself into it.
Oh, so instead of a sorcerer, he was a wizard.
Sorry,
I'm saying, but he's like,
and he was fishing.
Yeah. Then afterwards, he casts Eldritch Blast and Fireball, and okay, you know, I know we need Dan here to talk indeed. But anyways, but the point is, I felt like the characters of the Sorcerer, the title of this movie being called Sorcerer did not help the like idea of what this film could have been. I feel like we could think of a bit, if we brainstorm right now, we probably could think of a better title. And it's just like, I don't know, why couldn't it have been called like the original book title of like the Wages of Fear.
So the reason it wasn't called that was because there was a French film called Wages of Fear, which is an adaptation of the book as well. And the only way that William Friedkin managed to get permission from the author to adapt the book again was by saying it's a readaptation, it's not a remake of the original film.
And see, I think like the thing is, like it's not a supernatural horror or anything, but Sorcerer does give you kind of like it gives you the connotation of there's something supernatural kind of at play here, and it's not anything like explicit, but the whole thing of like nature will just fuck with you. It's something. It's just cosmic nature fuckery. It's just stopping you doing things, and it's just kind of you get that when they get across the bridge, and they're like, oh fuck, you both made it, decent, and then they get across and they've gone this whole way, and there's a big fucking tree, and it's just fallen over, and like the assassin starts laughing, the getaway driver starts freaking out and chopping shit up, and it's just kind of like, yeah, it's just like this whole cosmic fate thing of just, oh, you want to get from there to there, fuck you.
Yeah, I get that, and I understand what the idea for that is. I just felt like it. I'm trying to think how to explain it. It's just like I get that it's supposed to be like fate and nature and stuff, but I just like I don't know. I guess it's like you had to explain a lot because of the director's idea and the director's vision for it. It was never explained in the film, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
and
that's what I was saying about the kind of filmmaker that Friedkin is, though, because like he's never going to make, well, he never would have made a film where you're given everything that you need and there's no ambiguity, because his whole idea was that if you're going to watch a film, then you're supposed to work something out by yourself. Like, it's not supposed to be a passive experience.
I think that's the thing. Like, if you have someone like, I don't necessarily believe in like death of the. No way, hang on. I don't believe in necessarily like waiting for the author to tell me what the theme is. You have to kind of link it up with stuff. So he could say it's about penguins, and I'd be like, "What the fuck? It's about penguins? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?" But he says it's about cosmic fate and nature and all that, and I'm like, "Oh, I can definitely see where that marries up. Like, yeah, I can totally see the thought process behind that." So, like, just hearing from the director himself, like, it is valuable, but I don't think he necessarily, like, directors can be wrong about their own work, but yeah, I think this is one where like the theme is definitely marrying up with what is being shown.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it's okay. I think then it can simply be put as this: when I first watched this film, I didn't know what the theme was. That made me not let's say appreciate or understand the film as much until much later. Again, I think I probably will. This is one of the ones. Go give it a rewatch to go. Oh, I get it now, right? Because until then, it's gonna be one of those things of like, and it's like, what was the theme? Oh, it's fate. Did he explain that? No, you gotta think of that by yourself. Was I supposed to do homework before I watch the film? I don't know. It becomes a thing of like, yeah, I get it. I honestly do get it, and like,
I think this is like preferable to. I'm sorry to do this. I know this is a very sore subject for all of us, but the alternative is you have something like The Last Jedi, where someone comes in midway to go, failure is the best teacher, and you go, oh, that's the theme. It's failure is the best teacher, and it's like I would really rather figure it out by myself, or even just like watch it myself. Go, I'm not sure what that was about, and go. And then read what William Friedkin said and go, oh, right. Oh, yes, I can see how you came to that. Yes, I can understand the working there. Rather than have someone come in and flat out go, it was about fate. God will fuck with you.
that would be a problem. Yeah, I kind of get where you did that.
I'm not
but
saying
then it's like
I'm not saying you only have to do it that way. I think this is all. I think it's more effective to have it be something that you figure out by yourself, or you have, or like you're allowed to kind of go and like join the dots and stuff. Like,
oh wait, quick question. For Rob and Alec, I guess. Do you guys like murder mystery novels like Sherlock Holmes or Agatha Christie stuff?
Yeah.
I like Sherlock.
I like it when it's done well. I think there's a lot of the time that it's not done very well.
I feel like that style of narrative is probably the only case where you kind of need someone to have the story, so let's say, explained to you, because it's obviously revealing the mystery or revealing the story as the story progresses. So I guess, like, narratively speaking, I felt, at least for me, the story could have had a bit more. I think I'm repeating myself again, but yeah, the story, there could have been more story. But for the theming of the film, unless I knew about it, I didn't get it. But now that I do kind of know about it, I'm rethinking. I'm trying to rewind it in my head. I'm like, all right, yeah, because he did go and like he shot his brother, and like obviously it's about it's about his family and what he did as revenge. That's why he goes back. That's why he probably dies at the end of the film as well. And it's like, all right, yeah, yeah.
I think that's.
I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I see where the themes.
Well, I think that's why things like this are good, though, isn't it? Because it's like, I don't know. I think a film like Sorcerer and like The Exorcist as well, to be fair, it's the kind of film that gets better the more you think about it and the more you talk about it. And I feel like if anything that we were talking about just now, or any of the kind of problems with the characters that you were saying were more spelled out or things like that, then there would be less for us to sort of do our own work on. And us doing our own work on it is the interesting thing, which is why I think things like Film Club are good.
Definitely. Well, I had this with The Exorcist, didn't I? Because I took my first read of The Exorcist and I went, that didn't fucking make sense. That didn't make fucking sense. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I think that was crap. And then, so something like that where I was like, why didn't someone pick up that she was the daughter of an actor, and why wasn't that a thing that was like kind of brought up as like a kind of a plot point, like, wow, what, she's just acting? And you were like, oh well, the thing is kind of like the point is that she's part of like the wealthy sort of status, but like it's not. She can mingle with these people, but she's not technically wealthy. That's the whole reason the acting thing is there. And it's like, it's not something that's like addressed during the investigation or anything, but it's like an element of the story that, you know, kind of puts her in a certain position. And then I asked about the detective, and I was like, why is he doing this? And you're like, he's trying to get information. You get more information by being friendly than you do by being hostile. And that's why the guy's being so fucking weird at him, because he's trying to be friendly to, like, as part of his job. And I was like, yeah, shit, I didn't even pick that up. I just thought he was being like a weird guy. And it's like, I think this is like a thing with just Friedkin films. Like he kind of just presents it. I say this having watched 2 now, but he just kind of it's clearly just presented, and you either kind of need to work it out yourself, or you kind of need to be given a bit of guidance to go, oh right, I see. Like,
and that's exactly it. Like it's it sort of all comes back to what I was saying about when William Friedkin and William Peter Blatty did that interview together. And William Peter Blatty, it's really funny. Like, I'll find it and I'll paste it in the chat, because it's basically William Peter Blatty going like, no, the story needs to be this, and there needs to be no doubt about this. And then William Friedkin was like, no, people will take what they want from the film, and that's enough. Like, I think that's the general attitude to all of William Friedkin's films. And I think the idea that we're sort of sat here going like, no, this is what film was about, and other people are going like, no, this is, I would have liked more of this, and I think that's something that William Beacon would have probably named him for, to be honest.
I'm weirdly, and I don't want to like, I don't want to push you into your next pick, but like I'm remembering when you showed me Frank, the film, not the dog.
Frank's quite ambiguous as well, to be fair. Is he a Frank? Is he a Chihuahua?
You just held him up and you went, draw your own conclusions. This is Frank. Seems nice. No, just when you showed me Frank, I was just kind of like, but that the. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. Now I'm in a bit of a hole. The whole thing is it's about a guy trying to like inject himself into something that he kind of really doesn't belong in, and the ending is him recognizing that, and him recognizing that is not said in with any dialogue or anything. It's literally just the actor's expression changing, but you just get it all. You just realize that he realizes that the band's better without him, and he just fucking like goes to remove himself, and it's like, yeah, it's stuff like that I really, really appreciate. Just kind of trusting in like an expression change.
Yeah.
Or even just stuff like, what do we know about the terrorist guy? And we go like, we know he's a fucking terrorist. Do you know what has to happen for someone to become a fucking terrorist? Like, all kinds of shit has to happen for that. So you kind of don't need any of that spelled out. He's grown up in like this country. There's like a religious based militia. They've indoctrinated, like he's either been indoctrinated or like this is just kind of the dominant thing, in which case he's been indoctrinated again. But like this is the culture he's like within, and like he's had to become something very, very extreme because that's what he feels he has to do. He must be very politically minded. He must hate certain people. He must have certain values, and he has to be kind of like skilled. He has to be kind of like closed off. Obviously around like new people, because you'd have to be if you're a terrorist, but you also kind of need to have like the skills to be able to do these things. So when you see him driving the van and he is just dead set and he's like, I don't give a fuck, and there's kids in the way and the guy's going like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, you told me to drive the fucking truck, I'm going. And then he's kind of going like, you motherfucker. Yeah, I do need people like you, actually. And like, again, that's just an expression. But you can see him going like, you motherfucker. Fine.
Yeah.
And that's just characterization for Kasim. That's just what that guy is. And you must go like you're gonna invite to go like, what the fuck have you been through, motherfucker? to do that, I can't begin imagining being able to do that. But this guy's just doing it, and yeah, I think it's all it's all there for you to think about and look at.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it a more interesting film, because it's that whole thing of like, well, if you come into it with certain experiences, you're going to read something in a completely different way because it's not spelling it out for you. And I think it's, to be fair, it's one of the things that we always talk about when we talk about particularly Asian films being remade by American studios. Like the thing that always seems to change is that the American studio wants to spell something out that was left to your imagination before.
Could you imagine Harakiri done again as an American remake?
Yeah. That's the. Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's yeah, like I say, it's not something that works for everyone.
You broke Rob there. He thought about it and it broke his heart. He literally broke Rob's heart just saying that. He thought about it. It's like, oh no, what if they did do it? Who would make it? It would be filmed by Michael Bay, and it just went, oh no, he just saw Rob's soul just leave his body for just a second.
Sugamo just looks at the camera and goes, "I'm lying."
If Harakiri got a remake and it was done by someone like Zack Snyder, I don't think I'd ever watch a film again.
Oh,
Gonna-
Think how I feel seeing this fucking shit for Rebel Moon. I'm just like, fuck off. I can't be bothered.
sorry. Who was the character Martinez? The Arab Kassim character. I'm trying to figure out who was his only first choice.
Yeah, like,
Because he sorry, I'm posting stuff in the chat at the same time. Like,
I was gonna say, do you want to read any of that out, or?
I think he was the guy who put the so you know when they blasted the tree away. Yeah, so he was the guy who basically built it all. So he was the one who sort of
He was
made
a terrorist.
the construction and then ran away.
sure, but I wasn't sure. Basically, I was saying, Alec, the you've already mentioned quite a few things like between you, but yeah, the stuff they went through, like, trying to make this film and make it a film, and then also like none of them except Martinez were like first choices. Like he went through so many actors and people going like, nah, I ain't doing that. I ain't traveling. I ain't doing that.
Mm.
And then he had regrets. Like we could have had Steve McQueen. And
Yeah.
if he actually was like, yeah, you can have your wife in it.
Yeah, wasn't the assassin actor like he was like really disappointed because he was like, my first Hollywood movie, and then he's like, I'm just fucking back in the Dominican Republic.
I think my favourite story about the production of this was that William Friedkin, I can't remember the guy's name now, but William Friedkin had this special effects guy that he used for everything. And he was really struggling with the explosions because every time he made an explosion, William Friedkin was like, no, it doesn't look big enough for like the scale of what we've got here. Because obviously it was all filmed on set as well. And not on set, on location. And because it was filmed on location, obviously like the landscapes are way bigger than you'd be dealing with on set. And so he was setting off these explosions. And every time they filmed one, they were going for like days and days. And William Friedkin just kept looking at it and going, this isn't anywhere near big enough. So he got to the point where he was like, right, this is too much. And he got in touch with somebody that he kind of knew from New York who was like a retired arsonist. And and the guy's nickname was Marvin the Torch. And apparently he phoned his house phone and his wife answered and he was like, hello, is that Mrs. the Torch? And she was like, you leave us alone. He doesn't do that anymore. And William Friedkin was like, oh man, I fucked that one up. But
God,
he managed
That's
to get,
like
he managed to
Jesus
get-
that's
Christ.
such a me, innit?
But he managed to get straight through to him like a few days later, and this guy was like, you know what, I'll do it if it's going to be in like a Hollywood film and all that kind of thing. I'll do it. So he flew him out to South America, and the arsonist managed to get it done in one take.
Oh man, and
Yeah.
when was that?
Sorry?
Was that?
So you know, like the massive one that sort of kicks everything into gear, like it's just like one huge fucking flame in the middle of the jungle, basically. Yeah.
Oh, the actual oil rig
Okay,
thing.
hit that
Yeah.
one and then went
Yeah.
back home.
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
I'm doing. Yes, cool. Okay,
Yeah, can you just imagine he just goes and just lights a fucking match and just goes,
this is
he's just like, see you later.
yeah, this is how you act to it. So, on a random question, Rob, do you know if you can stream higher than 720p to Google Meetups?
As far as I'm aware, it goes up to 1080, but I don't know I don't know what it's limited by. Like I don't know if if it automatically throttles you based on your bandwidth or whatever.
You'll see all my pores.
I was considering, but I was like, let me use it first. But in the future, like I'm at 720 at the moment, but I could go up to like 4K. So I wondered if that would even make the call worth. Though
I think the only person we're at danger of like lagging out of existence is Simon.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Not even, my internet's that bad anymore.
Simon,
I mean-
F.
Well, it's not even that, man. It's just like if I was to like somehow put into like an actual wire instead of like Wi-Fi and stick it and get an even better laptop than this little fucking like Dell, I might actually be able to stream normally. But like until then, it's like, oh, I could just buy the new iPhone when that comes out. Just do it on my mobile. But I was like, we'll see how it goes. Until I get like a wide connection, everything is going to be a bit choppy, and I'm going to cut out, you know.
Fair enough. Yeah, I won't adjust. I'm gonna stay with the free version for now, so that I don't make things worse for everyone else.
Mainly just me.
I was going to say, you've been very quiet. Did you want to bring anything up? Or? Yeah.
Who? I've been quiet.
Yeah.
Have I?
Yeah.
Quiet?
Pat's always quiet.
I've been talking off and on.
I mean, to be fair, I can't really say anything because
Yeah.
I've only watched the film intermittently,
No.
Yeah, Pat's listening today.
like every week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like every. Okay,
Yeah.
if you don't, I just thought you usually got stuff to say.
I mean, I have been. I was just talking about the actors.
Mhm.
About some of my problems with some of the production. I was like, what's going on? Another thing I forgot until I was reading how long and how much effort it took to do the car crash scene. The first Sorry, tired. That scene looked so bad. It was just like it was a weird one because in terms of filming, in terms of quality, it looked really good. Like when the film was first getting going, I was like, "Oh, this film looks like it's from the '90s. It doesn't look like it's from the '70s. This is really good, like quality, and it's been remastered as well. But like, this is really, really well done." And then I see you see someone get stop. Okay, yeah, it's not the '90s, but yeah, it's that's cool. That's cool. That's all right. I have no problem with that. But then you have the car crash, and then it's just like, oh, and it's like, wait, what? You see the fire hydrant go up, but the car's not moving. So it's just like it doesn't look like the car hit it and then did the fire hydrant. It just looks like it set the car there and then went, okay, put the fire hydrant on. It was a bit. It kind of threw me because it's like, wait, what? Wait, how did those people fall out the car? Wait, this wasn't that violent of a. Wait, how are they dead? Wait, how? How are they ready? Like, what's going on? Like everywhere else in the film where you have stuff like that, it all makes sense. But in this one scene, I was just like, the way it crashed, like it just didn't make any sense. It would have been probably better if they were like, they were driving on a kind of highway around the mountain. They got out of the city. I don't know, and then they kind of fell off. And that would be a bit more, yeah, kind of like what was that film where the truck might be sentient?
Where the truck became sentient. That wasn't any of the films we've watched, mate.
Sentient. For Jaws.
What?
The film thing he made before Jaws.
The thing that Spielberg made before Jaws.
Yes.
There's no sentient truck film.
It was a theory. It could have been sentient. Oh,
No. They showed there was a driver. We've been through this. People got very upset, Emmanuel.
Sorry, are we talking about very infamous certain truck
Picture I took of
the slut,
the slut truck.
Yeah, I was waiting for you guys to say it. Yeah.
The slut truck, baby.
Oh man, that's still our finest moment, I believe.
That was so fucking ridiculous.
Oh yeah, but still, yeah, that crash that made no sense. But otherwise, it was I would it, like a few, I think 2 times the most. Obviously, the first kind of rickety bridge scene, and then the second kind of bridge over water scene. It's just like, oh my goodness, this is mad. This is ridiculous.
I always feel guilty with the bridge scenes because, like, I think they're brilliant scenes. Like, I think to film that must have been like so anxiety inducing, and I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like you almost want it to like not work, because to be able to film a scene like that, the things they must have been going through must have just been like so horrible that you want it to look shit so that people don't do it again. But it kind of like, it looks so good that it sort of justifies it. It's like, no, like, I don't know. I don't agree with this existing, but it does look brilliant. But I feel kind of bad for it because like the scene that raises like the most anxiety in me as I'm watching it is the scene where those people just like jump out in front of it and the guy playing chicken with it. Because I was just sat there like, oh man, this is like, I don't know how you would deal with this situation.
This fucking guy.
That was so random. I was like, what the crap is going on? Sorry.
No, go on.
There's like 2 random parts where just like you don't see a certain thing happening, and I thought, was that for budget reasons? Okay, cool. Let's move on. But anyway, see the before and after math, but you don't always see the thing happening. And yeah, I just assumed that was more for budget kind of reasons. I mean, after all the stuff they did, I wouldn't have been surprised.
I do like where they spent the budget on this, I must admit, because I think the budget of this was something like $10 million more than The Exorcist, and
Since
like you'd like usually when a filmmaker like makes a film that's like quite a modest budget and then gets a huge budget next time, it goes on actors. But I like that in this he just went, no, we just need explosives and locations. Like, just
Also, can I just say, he went out of his way to pick the ugliest motherfuckers ever. every guy, I'm like, you're an ugly bitch. You're an ugly bitch. You're a fucking ugly bastard. Like when the French guy doesn't have a beard, I'm like, you ugly mother.
I mean, to be honest, they weren't his choices he wanted.
Yeah.
He desperate.
I must admit, there was one scene.
He wanted all the pretty people, and they're like, I'm sorry, you can only afford this barn full of Ugmos.
There was one scene where it was like, it was Roy Scheider driving, and I was just looking at him, and I'd never noticed before. I was like, man, that guy's the bridge of that guy's nose is unnaturally big.
No, when Roy Scheider came out, I was like, I can see why you were cast in Jaws, because you look like a fucking shark.
Oh, right. But wait, which guy had the big bridge nose?
Roy Scheider, the
Schneider.
Irish driver. He went by Manuel Dominguez and expected to get away with it.
Yeah, Roy Scheider from Jaws.
Oh shit!
Oh, the American guy who survives at the end.
Yeah.
The guy from Jaws.
Oh yeah. Cool. It's just I know you said his name, but I couldn't see it in my head. I could have just gone into his picture.
You just gotta put big defense glasses on him.
To be honest, I know you said he was going by the name Manuel, whatever kind of thing, but he didn't actually do any of his own identity. This got it given to him. He's like, so where am I going? I don't know.
I just want to say, actually, that was so fucking cold. I really, really liked the guy who gave him the fake passport, and he's like, I don't even know where you're going. You talk to this guy, and then he shows up right at the fucking end, and I was like, you were waiting for all the heat to die off, and then you know exactly where he is. You just banked that guy. You knew you just put him somewhere to keep him warm, and then you're gonna go and kill him so you can give it back to the mobster guy. That is cold.
Yeah.
Cold shit. Love that stuff.
It was him. I just thought, oh, they've caught up to him now, or where he was, just was.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's another freaking one because I missed that on the first shot. I was just like, oh fuck, that's the guy who shows up at the end to go and pick him up. He's the guy who goes like, I have no idea where you're going. If you pick up with this guy, like the amount of people he must have just funneled through this bloke and gone like, just send him to Colombia. I'll get him in a couple of months. Like, bam, amazing.
Yeah. It's devastating, man, because it's like I remember the first time I watched it, and it was like I was saying earlier, you've just got like all this time where you're on the edge of your seat going like, oh man, I can't imagine being these guys, and this is such an awful situation to end up in. And then you get to the end and it's like, oh man, at least like, you know, it's not like he was a nice person or anything, but there's a little bit of hope because he made it through it. And then he gets out of the cab and it's just like, you motherfucker. After all this time, it's you. Like
I think this might be like kind of my favorite scene. I think it's when you kind of see him after he's been in Colombia for a little while, and he's just in a fucking shitey hostel, and he like walks out onto the balcony, and it's raining, and everything's just waterlogged and horrible, and he just gets a bowl, and there's shit in the bowl, and he chucks the shit out of the bowl. He fills it with water, and he washes his face with it. And then he goes to a bar, and there's like an advert. There's like a drawing of a lady in a leotard with on the beach with a Coke, and like it keeps like zooming in on his face, and it's just kind of like girl's ass, Coke bottle, and he's like, and then like old guy comes out and he like wipes his knife and fork with his shirt and gives it to him to eat his pie, and I was just like, fuck. Like, because you can kind of you can smell that place. You can definitely smell what that place smells like. It's I don't know. It's just very very really effective. It's just it's just like a living armpit. This guy's just had to live in. It's just like, man, yeah, love it. So good.
I was just gonna say we're not the like anyone like me, Simon, anyone else. Not the only ones who are like thinking password. Like it's just the right film. Even when it was released, they had to like put up posters and stuff because people were like, "Did I pay to see some foreign film?" Like it. I don't think it was. Like I don't necessarily have. I don't know. I think it could have had a better name than Sorcerer, personally. And I think it's just because of the connotations that come with that. Like even back then, like you have a film called Sorcerer. You've seen maybe you saw the trailer, but you've seen posters of this truck and all this kind of stuff. And then suddenly you just randomly start. You at first you're like, okay, this seems interesting. What's gonna happen? You got some fighting going on, and then you just have some French guy speaking his wife, and you're like, wait, now they're talking about bribery and fraud, and they're having dinner at a night. Wait, am I watching the right film? We're like 20 points. It's like. I think it's a thing where this is the thing is we're like, because you don't even see the other main character for like the first 20 minutes as well, it kind of throws you because you're just like, wait, who's this guy? This French guy. He is in the film, right? But he's not really. Not sure how much he's posters or anything of the time. But I feel like it throw a lot of people when it's just like, but what's this? Oh, we're in the right place. He's in the other screen. Yeah, let's go out. I think it could have been either named differently, but also maybe marketed a bit differently, so people kind of like got it. Because even from like, let's say certain descriptions of the film, I didn't even know any of it was taking place in Paris. And yes, you don't necessarily need to know that, but when the description is like, oh, blah blah, South America and X, Y, and Z, and I'm in French for a good part of them, for a big part of them, like, have I watched the wrong thing? I'm double checking, like looking up screenshots. Do I see the other film? Where's the French guy? I was struggling to find the French guy in actual images online. He's not in many kind of people's like, screenshots of the film. They mainly focus on Roy. But I'm like, I don't see Roy. I haven't seen him for like 15 minutes already. So is this the right thing? But I I did think that there was something else I was gonna say, but I don't think I can remember right now. Probably come up later.
Can I just say though, I really, really appreciate that he committed to having the foreign language stuff, because it just drives home these people are all from different fucking countries and they're from different fucking cultures and they have nothing in common with each other. I really, really appreciate that, because the temptation is gotta be, can I just have you kind of assume they're speaking in French? He's in Paris, he's speaking English, I'm not asking to do any work. Like, can you just know he's French, please? Like, I really appreciate they got a bunch of foreign actors to play foreign roles.
Yeah, that appreciate that. Yeah, just
It's the French guy. I think this is actually his first English-speaking role.
Yeah, I think you're right there.
I'm not surprised. Probably the fourth or fifth pick. He's not someone he wanted to pick. I wonder how he got the people he did in the end. Like, because even like, what was it? The other people who dropped the two other people who dropped out, and McQueen, it was just like, all right, now bye. It's just like, yeah, we're not working under like people who are this level. I see it. It's like people go, so please stop breathing or turning it down. Who else was it? Jack Nicholson didn't want to do it. There was someone else.
Oh, I'd have been so distracted with Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, I think it plays into its strengths, to be honest, that the best known person is Roy Scheider, and even he's not massively well known.
Like, Roy Scheider's known for Jaws, where he plays an everyman, and this is where he plays an everyman. And it's like, oh, he's an everyman. I feel like I could be in a room with Roy Scheider, and I wouldn't feel intimidated whatsoever. I wouldn't be like, "You're a big fucking actor." I'd be like, "You are a big fucking actor," and he's like, "Yeah." I won't make a big deal of it. Whereas like Jack Nicholson, I'm just picturing this with Jack Nicholson, and I'm like, stop it. I really don't. I could just see him just being like really like, I don't know, passive aggressive. Like that's kind of his style, where you have he's under pressure and he starts going into like, and I'm just like, stop it. Just this is right for Cuckoo's Nest. This is not right for Sorcerer.
Yeah.
You have your little spot. And Sorcerer was not your spot, and I'm glad that you turned it down.
Yeah.
Whereas Roy Scheider, he's very fucking good for this stuff because he can get desperate. He can get a bit like manic, and like he takes it like very seriously. Like his face is just generally sort of just built for like just being a bit grave and being a bit serious. Like it's like kind of like long kind of built. Like, sorry, I'm getting into my caricaturing stuff, but like he's got a very rectangular sort of long face, and it's just kind of like when he's freaking out, there's no help. There's like a I'm fucking serious, we're gonna die. Fucking shut up. And it's like, yeah, there you go. That's what you need. You don't need Jack Nicholson showing his teeth and going like, like,
Yeah.
Apparently, Roy was not the easiest to work with on this film. It got all the stuff and said that like working with that director, it did, I guess, encourage him to do some of the stuff that was quite risky in the film. But yeah, apparently he was quite difficult to work with on this film, unlike he was before, apparently.
I feel like I've heard him be spoken about like that before. I can't remember. I think it was maybe All That Jazz. He was apparently really difficult to work with as well.
All that what?
All That Jazz.
Oh, he was difficult on that as well.
Apparently, yeah. It might have been something else, to be fair. But yeah, I definitely heard that before about him.
It's a shame.
But to be fair, I do think like I don't know of all the directors that I've heard of, like the way that they work and things like that, William Friedkin seems like the maddest. It's like,
oh, I mean, he pissed off the guy who played Father Karras, didn't he? He like fired a gun to make him have a reaction, and he was just like, "I'm an actor, I can look surprised." Like,
yeah,
he fucking fire a gun like next to my face.
Oh my God.
I think that's the thing, because like William Friedkin started off making documentaries rather than like narrative films, and so like I think he carried across a bit of that spirit where like he always wanted everything to be sort of, you know, as close to reality as possible. And rather than just trusting an actor, he would just do some really horrible things to them to get them to like portray what he wanted them to portray. Like, yeah, so that there was that thing where like he fired a gun on set on The Exorcist. Apparently, he like slapped him around the face just before he was about to walk on set once as well. Like, just like loads of things like that. And it's like I was saying, like you want that stuff to be unsuccessful because you want it to be like a lesson learned to not be a dick to people. But then you watch the films and you're like, no, to be fair, it did worse.
Oh man, like it's that makes a bit more sense now with the. So when I was watching the film, I was like, man, what the stuntman must be going through. Realize that like the majority of the stunts and all of the dangerous stunts were done by the actors themselves. And even the stuntmen were just like this. I mean, maybe they weren't. I don't know exactly the reasons they weren't happy. Whether it was just that they weren't getting enough work, or I don't know. But they weren't happy themselves. It's just like you've got the actual actors doing these really dangerous things when you have us here, but you only ask us to do some minor stuff. This doesn't make any sense. Shouldn't it be the other way around?
Yeah.
And saying it makes more sense now. But still, that's really risky. I would not, even if I had someone wanting to do their own stunts, I'm worried. Like I'm just like, look, that crap can happen. If a stunt man, you know, unfortunately passes, it's part of the job. And like we get another stunt person. If you go, the whole film is effed. Sorry, but I can't. You like it's some really dangerous stuff. I need to. But this guy, Willie, he's like, no, he's just living on the edge. If he kicked the bucket, I don't know what he would have done.
Oh, I love that you don't swear. It's so cute. This whole film would have been effed.
I like to do friendly family as well on YouTube. Don't want to get demonetized. You know?
No. I mean, I've already sunk that, but it's so much funnier you saying "f" than me saying "fuck."
Oh, there we go.
I've already said "fuck."
I'm honestly, I'm kind of surprised that. Oh no, it was a nomination. Never mind. It wasn't an award. Never mind. For a moment, I won an Academy Award for best sound, and I was like, wait, what? How? Especially when Star Wars was out. Like, Star Wars did a lot. There was many other films that could have like won best sound, but it didn't win. It only got nominated. So fair enough. Besides random parts that I criticized, it was good. It just had some bad spots where I think they needed to record it again, do the scene again. But you know,
I
like
do think this. I do think the score is very good, though. I'd quite happily sit and listen to that.
oh yeah, the score. So not the sound. Like I'm talking about the dialogue and stuff. But yeah, the score.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was Tangerine Dream.
Yeah, man, they released it as an album as well.
Nice. 'Cause I do like them. I've listened to some of their stuff here and there. But the fact that they didn't even get to watch any of it before they made that's also a risky way to go.
I think it's similar to. So have you ever heard Quentin Tarantino talk about like scores on his films?
Yeah, though he does things a bit differently, but carry on.
Yeah, so for years and years, I think like the first film that somebody specifically made a score for was A Hateful Eight, and the only reason, so
Huh?
I said that I think the first Quentin Tarantino film that had an original score was The Hateful Eight, and I'm pretty sure that the only reason that had an original score was because Ennio Morricone did it, and beforehand, Quentin Tarantino would always take like parts of other scores or different songs, and he'd basically like build a score like a playlist. And the reason was always that he didn't trust anybody to make a score for his film because he didn't think that anybody would be able to make what he could hear, basically. And I think this is a similar thing. I think William Friedkin was just like, this is what I want, you do that, and then I'll work it out later.
Fair enough. I think the thought is a bit different though, but I think I get where you're coming from. But yeah, he like Quentin Tarantino does it that way. I think in a way he also maybe William also was trying to take inspiration from it. So he wanted it to be being made before the film was done. So maybe that actually helped him during shooting it and editing it and whatnot. It's just a different way to go. It's cool. I mean, some of the edit of the sounds, but yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. It's a control thing, really, isn't it? Because it's like if the score is made to what you've edited, then I think the people who are making the score have got like a bigger influence on the final film. Whereas if you've got the score before you've edited it, then it's still your final product.
So I just wanted to say, when you go on the Wikipedia page for this, you have under critical reception, you have a section that is initial reception, and then you have reassessment. And yeah, it didn't get a lot when it came out, but yeah, just like more recently, it's now got like an 80% approval rating. But like it was basically like just panned, like when it came out, and it's just like, man, that's.
Yeah, I think it's a similar thing to Unbreakable, because it's like you've got William Friedkin who's just done The Exorcist, and he's following up with a film called Sorcerer. So obviously the studio was like, "Oh, we can market this as if it's like a sequel almost." It's like, no, it's not even. It's not even in the same kind of like space. It's a completely different thing.
But not just that. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Like you said, he did The Exorcist before.
Mm.
People go into this, man. He really did it. Shouldn't have called it Sorcerer. Anyway,
No, I think calling it Sorcerer adds to it, man, because then you've got that whole conversation about fate and what all that means. So I think it would have been not a lesser film, but I think it would have been there would have been one less interesting thing to talk about with it if it wasn't called Sorcerer.
Well, he called it a hang on. He called it a
Film.
where are you? Yeah, he called it a film. Good night, everybody. He called it an intentional but ill-advised reference to The Exorcist.
yeah, yeah, it is. To me, the reason I say I agree that it was ill-advised is because I forgot the context. I know you said it even before. I forgot the context of The Exorcist just happened before,
Mm.
and you're calling it Sorcerer. It like
He should have called it Truck.
like he could have he could have even like called it Fate or something else.
1, 2, 3.
Or Truck crosses dodgy bridge.
Oh man, but even Fate or something like Sorcerer can be misleading for what it really is. Like yes, Sorcerer it it gives something to be talked about, but when it comes to marketing your film and mainstream kind of cinema goers, it's not helpful. This is not a film that was like an indie film coming out at like the equivalent of a picture house or something, or going to Cannes festivals. This is like you want a lot of people pay their money and go to this film and then talk about it, but you get a lot of people who are confused. And then like you said, Star Wars was out, and in the second week, it made nothing because that really kicked off. Because everyone was talking about that, which was unfortunate. Like, of course, I don't blame the marketing people like thinking, oh, this unknown film is Star Wars. Not many people are going to watch that. So yeah, you would put your film like um a week after or around about the same time. So it's kind of unfortunate that you got that. Plus, you've got a film that's kind of confusing to, I say, main cinema goers in the first instance, and they're hearing mixed things. So I'm not surprised it didn't get much kind of praise from like the average person in the, unless they actually, you know, I guess did it. I don't know. I get where you're coming from, Rob, but I also think from it from the kind of they need to make money point of view.
I respect that about William Friedkin though, because it's kind of like he's had his big breakthrough with the French Connection and The Exorcist. So like a big studio are willing to give him like loads of money to make a film. But I respect that he wasn't thinking about them getting their money back, and he was just like, "No, this is the film I want to make. This is your problem if it doesn't make any money."
No, I will not call it Four Guys, Two Trucks.
Oh my goodness!
Right. How are we feeling about favorite scenes? They will be short.
I think my favorite scene actually is like it's during the sort of prologue bits, and it's when the French guy and his wife are talking about their anniversary and whatever, and there's that little piece of paper, and it's the story about the soldier shooting someone. I can't remember exactly what the line of dialogue is. I don't want to butcher it, but it's basically about how the soldier is not just one thing.
Yeah, he says, "Oh, just another soldier," and she says, "No one's just one thing."
Yeah, I think I really like that. that whole bit. I think we were saying earlier, like his prologue is obviously the strongest, but I think it's of the whole film is one of the strongest bits. And I think that little line, it gives you just enough kind of like humanity between them to be devastated later on when he's selling the watch and all that shit.
Mm.
I'm trying to think of mine.
Oh, I like the bit when Scheider's in the fucking hostel and everything's sweaty and he's very unhappy. But I do like the banker guy and all this stuff. I really like the bit in. I really liked it when he was going on about how if his family fall, then the other people will be next. And I was like, is this something he's married into, or is this his family business? And then the very next scene is them in a restaurant, and then his wife says that his dad was a fisherman, and I was like, thank you for answering that. Just another little freakinism. Maybe I won't popularize that, but I don't know. It sounds like embolism, but
just another freakinism.
I'm a freakinism. And I like the bit with the log. I think that the tree falling down and having created like a complete blockage. Like I think everyone's reaction to that and how they deal with it, that's all just absolutely golden. I really like that whole sequence. Eb hated this, by the way.
That's she.
We came out of that and she went, "You fucking liked that, didn't you?" And I was like, "I did. I really did like that." And she went, "Fine." And she went to bed.
Yeah, I showed Rachel the trailer and she said, "No, thank you."
I told people at work about it because I was like, "This is a really interesting film." And I showed the graphic designer and I showed him the poster and he went, "That looks sick. That looks sick, mate." And I was like, "You'd really like it." And then I showed the internal comms person and she went, "Nah, what you're describing does not sound like a good time." And I was like, "It's not designed to be a good time, like, but it's very engaging." She was like, "I'm good."
What was I going to say? Yeah,
Only you can answer that.
Not like it. Why did Eb not like it?
I don't know. I think she has a thing where she thinks everyone's stupid. That sort of clouds her judgment on some things. But
Okay. I don't know if it's my favorite, but maybe. I think one of the things I thought was probably a thing well done in the film was how unexpected the Frenchman's and death was. Like he after going through all the stuff they went through, like when they rocked up, I thought they literally lost the truck. And I think that's the point. I think possible they got here on foot. Maybe. I don't know. But they like yeah, he's just like, yeah, it's 9 past it or whatever, 5 minutes past 9 in France right now. It's just like I was like, oh, that's just it. Okay. And then obviously you had the reaction of Roy and whatnot. And it's just like I think another scene I liked. Sorry, there's not one, I guess, but is when Roy, the assassin guy, the killer, is like coming up to the rickety in this raid, and the old guy's just like, not if that, and he runs. You who said we will guide me, and you will guide me, and you get me as my lighthouse.
That's such a good scene. I really like that one.
And when it's happening, I'm just like, yeah, you definitely couldn't do this by yourself. And then even after with the French guy, who man, this guy, the French guy don't have the most sense in the world in this scene. It's just like you can't see worth crap out your window. So instead of going, wait, I can't see if he's doing this or telling me to stop. Let me look out my window.
Or if he's on the bridge at all.
He's like, let me look out my window and at least see him. Because apparently to that point, he could obviously see him or hear him or whatnot. But he can't hear him. He can't see him.
That was a bit that Eb said about. She got really annoyed during that because he was like, just kept driving and he was like, I can't see you. And she was like, stop the fucking car. I was like, yeah.
Very I mean, don't get me wrong. Roy is a more
If you're on that bridge, you'd want to get off it.
yeah. The Roy is the more careful driver. He's the actual person who is a driver by profession. With the kind of he's the getaway driver. The French guy, he's not a getaway driver. He's not even a driver by profession. He's just someone who has a driving license. So maybe there's some kind of critical thinking that's just not there. And like you said, he's just thinking, oh, it must be fine. I want to get off this bridge. I mean, like
You'd be anxious. You'd want to get off.
yeah, but at the same time, like the difference between him and Roy, before it's like he's like, no, I'm not taking the low road. That's what swamps, and you see this weather and blah blah blah. Like that's even more of suicide, basically. But the guy was like, no, we will follow them. And I didn't really understand why he was just like, we will follow them. Because even the American guy is thinking, what's your take in this? At the end of the day, if you think the lower route's good better, go yourself. If the higher road's worse, you get more money. Why are you yelling at me? Like anything and I don't make it, it's better for you. So why do you want me to take some more dangerous road? Unless you think it's worse and you're gonna take the higher one. Or whatever. And but anyway. In the end
It's the thing, like you don't know what road you don't know where these roads are going. It could lead to like just a cliff face, or it could like take you like a billion miles the wrong way, or like you don't know.
It could. Like at the end of the day, it's a valid point. It just highlights the way Roy will think more like much more about certain things than the French guy will. The French guy's just like, I need to get back to my wife, you know. I need to get back to her and the people.
I think that's such good characterization again, though. 'Cause I didn't even think about that. The getaway driver is looking for something. He's looking for He's looking for a way to make this easy.
Yeah.
But the banker's like, I fucked up once. We're doing it by the book, and we're just doing what we've been asked to do, and we're gonna get there. Like, Roy's looking for, yeah, just an easier way, and it's just like, no. We're not deviating. That's that. Another bit of characterization that's really fucking cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I just realized, I don't know if you know more about this, Rob. William fired the producer and took the credit for himself after some stuff happened.
I don't know the specifics.
Oh man. Yeah,
Oh, we'll have some fallacious rumors. That's okay.
no, it happened, but I just don't know the reasons, like proper reasons behind it. They're talking about how much it cost, sharing the expenses. I don't know exactly how it went down. Obviously, they argued about something and disagreed. He just fired the producer. He took the credit for himself. It's like, whatever. I'm the one who produced it. I'm the producer.
I'm just looking now. I mean, I can't find anything that's like a definite. The only story I know was that there was a cinematographer who William Friedkin wasn't happy with, and I think he fired him. And then I think one thing led to another, and then I think they just got into it over disagreeing about a load of things like that. But that's kind of a theme with William Friedkin as well, to be honest. Like even on The Exorcist, he got fired like 5 times because he kept being such a dick to people.
As the director, he was getting fired.
Yeah, he got fired 5 times from The Exorcist, but he's such a good director that they brought him back 5 times as well. So,
I don't know. Maybe back then, you could get away with it, but now,
yeah, it's one of those things, man. Like it's hard really because you look at sort of like the things he's done as a director, and you just think like that's awful, man. but I think the kind of films that he makes, or the kind of films that he made, it's kind of like, well, not that you need to sort of treat people in that way, but like it sort of makes sense to create a hostile atmosphere on set because that's like that's what the film's trying to portray. So I totally get it from his point of view, even though I don't agree with it.
yeah, I definitely don't agree. I would, I 100% would be like, I'd rather like have just a better environment for the actors, not this crazy crap that you be doing. Like at the end of the day, there's even better ways to do what he was doing. So instead of like, if he thought I don't know how to say, if he thought some of the reactions or some things weren't as good, you can almost do like mini with the permission, you can almost do like mini workshops on set in a method acting type way to really get the people into the role and really get their reactions even better and them really even more into it. You you can foster that environment. You can get people to go, look, I know you're friends now. I want you to see. Like there's ways to do it with not authorization, but with consent.
Mm.
The problem I have with, I mean, like you said, I just don't like how he's just like, oh yeah, I'll just do this, or I want you to be like in this really dangerous situation. I want you to do. It's just it rubs me the wrong way. It really just
It's quite an old school attitude. Like
yeah.
I think the only filmmaker around who, well, I mean, like it's all the old guys that are still sort of like of that attitude. But I think the only sort of like modern filmmaker who isn't like super old, who's still making films now, who has that kind of attitude is probably Quentin Tarantino. Because like there's that whole thing where he nearly killed Uma Thurman, like things like that. But yeah, you'd never get it so much now. I think probably the thing that changed it for a lot of people is Twilight Zone. Have you heard about what happened on set of that?
No, what happened there?
So it was basically like a co-production between 4 directors. So I think it was Steven Spielberg, Joe Dante, John Landis, and I can't remember the fourth. I'm not even sure if it was Joe Dante, to be fair. But it was definitely Steven Spielberg and John Landis. But basically, on John Landis's segment of it, he he wanted to get this shot where there was like these kids in a river, and a helicopter was supposed to come down and get really close to them. And to get the shot, he broke child labour laws by having them on set so late. But the worst thing that happened was that the helicopter basically came down too far accidentally, and it decapitated one of them.
Oh, that's oh.
Yeah. So I think since that happened, that sort of like old school attitude of like anything to get the right shot has like changed a little bit, and people have started realizing that shit goes wrong. Because even in French Connection, which is another William Friedkin film, there's a really famous car chase through New York, and he did it all without a permit and just during the day because he wanted people on the street to look terrified. And the reason they looked terrified is because they were real people going, "What the fuck is going on?" And yeah, like it's like I was saying earlier, you want that kind of thing to be like a lesson in not to do it because it doesn't come out very good either. But to be fair, it does look fucking good, and it's just like you kind of like it's a good thing that nothing went wrong. But it's almost a bad thing that it looks so good because you don't want people to try and recreate that. Like it's.
I forgot that was tied to like the Twilight Zone. Because I knew about that. I just remember what it was in.
Yeah, but I think that kind of like attitude is more or less gone now. Yeah.
I guess it's like you said, it was an older attitude, and that was very much how they thought to get the best kind of thing. But yeah, I'm glad things have moved on.
But I think that's another thing though as well. I mean, I think a lot of the actors that William Friedkin would have worked with, like, are the kind of actors who will have a similar attitude. That sort of like anything so that the art is what the art should be, kind of thing. So you know, as long as they're all into it, then that's okay.
Yeah. I would love the conversation. Oh, so apparently, after its poor showing at U.S. box, the title was changed to Wage the Fear for its in the UK. Avoid confusion for filmgoers who might have thought that a movie Sorcerer made by the director of Exorcist was another horror film. After being severely edited down, it was shown as part of a double bill with The Last Dinosaur. I want to ask Ben's dad, or ask Ben, did his dad like watch us bill with The Last Dinosaur? What did he?
Yeah, I would like to ask Ben about it actually, because I think from what he was saying the other day, I think his dad might have been one of those people who was like, "Oh yeah, a film called Sorcerer by the guy who did The Exorcist."
This is what I'm talking about. Like, no, this isn't independent. That's the thing. He's taking a more art-wise type approach to making it. But
I think that's super interesting though, because like the only other director I can think of who basically does what they want with like big studio budgets is Steven Spielberg, and that's because like he's Steven Spielberg. Like there's not many that get away with it, so I like that William Friedkin did.
I'd like to see more Friedkin.
Huh?
I'd like to see more Friedkin. I've only seen 2 films.
I've got another one of his on my list.
I've got one on my list as well.
What one have you got?
French Connection.
Oh right, okay. I've got Cruising on mine.
Cruising for a bruising.
Oh,
More or less, to be fair, it's about a detective who. It's a really weird plot, actually. It's one of those ones where you like hear the premise and you go like, "What the fuck?" But it's about a detective who is chosen to work out what's going on in New York because he's so pretty. And the reason that they choose him because he's so pretty is because there's a serial killer who's specifically killing gay people. So he has to pretend to be gay to try and like work out who this guy is.
yeah. I'll
Oh
watch
man.
Wait, what? I feel like I just spaced out there.
that. No. It was fine.
Okay. I was, but
Yes, it's an interesting film. It's another one that like when it first came out, people panned it a bit, but as time's gone on, people have like revisited it and gone, oh, actually, that's probably more than we gave it credit for.
yeah. And who
Yeah.
died recently
Yeah, he died a couple of weeks ago.
of the director?
Yeah. Yeah. So that means that now everyone who's involved with The Exorcist has died.
Man.
That's lame.
Yeah.
I bet Linda Blair was surprised.
Surprised?
No, just damn, William freaking outlived me.
Yeah. Wait, is Linda Blair dead?
I don't know. You tell me. You give me trivia.
Could you imagine if she was watching this call right now?
Linda Blair is alive.
Well,
This guy having me dead before my time.
could you imagine being the little girl in The Exorcist and you're looking at the director just going, oh, that motherfucker's going to outlive me?
And then he doesn't.
He's connected my. He's just attached a like pea soup hose pipe to my face. Is Simon alive or did we kill him?
I mean, no, I'm alive. I just had nothing interesting to say, I guess. Or I haven't done my favorite scenes either.
Do your favorite
What's
scene?
your favorite scene?
I mean, like, in all seriousness, it's just it's the tree trunk scene, you know. That's like the best scene because you see everything kind of like come together, especially when the terrorist guy with his knife walks up to like the assassin guy, and he's like, "All right," cuts open his pockets. It's like I thought it's just straight up just gonna go fucking stab him. I was like, "Oh, this turned differently," but no, it sets up, and he was able to MacGyver his like little like sandbag timing thing to set off the bomb, or set off the nitroglycerin, and like do all that stuff. Also, I thought that was quite a good scene, and the explosion looked pretty good for what it was made.
Explosion.
Yeah, it was a good explosion. Yeah,
It's probably the first time I've been watching a film and I've seen an explosion and I've gone, oh yeah.
That's just me watching explosions.
yeah, but it's not,
good one, though, isn't
not like it's not like now though. It's like you don't need fucking Michael Bay explosions, or you can do.
He had some good explosions.
I mean, you can do like slow mo like explosions. I think those are still quite cool looking, right? But you see, like how you get in like videos like on YouTube with the guys who blow shit up, but they record it in super slow motion. So you can see like all the like embers and particle effects and all that shit. That's still amazing to see. But like you can only watch that so many times, I guess. Or you go, okay, we can see where each ember goes, but apart from that, you just want to watch some I say normal explosions. Explosions don't really happen in real life that much, so I can't really say normal explosions. Yeah, that's about my favorite scene, just seeing all that. And like I've been listening to you guys about it, it's like I feel like apart from Spielberg and this guy, I mean, like, you just have to have enough money to just do whatever you need to be that sort of like film director nowadays. But I don't think there is anyone else without them like getting cut down by like the company or like from like the studios. Because like if you try, I was thinking, I mean, George Lucas, because you talked about last year, Alec. I was thinking, oh, it was in my mind. I was thinking, like, George Lucas tried to do that with Star Wars, then it got built by Disney. Then afterwards, he couldn't do it because Disney owned Star Wars, and it's like, it's like out of my hands nowadays. So it's like, no. So it's like, if Sorcerer actually did much better in box office terms, he could have just done lots of other films, but he could have been bought out by a big studio. Then after he was made the same shit anyway. It could have been Exorcist. It would be like Exorcist. Oh, wait, no, there have been sequels to Exorcist, haven't there?
Yeah, to be fair, Exorcist 3 is a banger.
Exorcist 3 is, yeah, it is actually a banger.
Okay, but like
I didn't really enjoy that as much as you did, though.
The
Oh,
other three.
so good.
yeah, but like afterwards you could have like the like remaking the Exorcist again and again. So it'll be like Exorcist Origins or Exorcist the New Haunting or some fucking nonsense. You know, it's gonna have like some pun or something. As like, I guess is it weird to say it's good that he wasn't as famous as a director as like let's say the Spielbergs and Lucases and all them lot, because like if the company the studios would have bought him out, I guess, like then the art becomes a bit more like muddied up, I guess, if you know what I mean.
I do feel like William Friedkin probably has the reputation that he would have wanted. Like, I don't think he would have wanted to be like known as the blockbuster guy. And I think if you watch some of his interviews, like sometimes it seems like he resents how successful The Exorcist was. So yeah, like I don't think he ever wanted to be like a commercial director.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I guess it's just a question of like if there was like any other sort of film that he could have wanted to make, but like he couldn't be bothered about it. That's probably the only question then, I guess.
I think that I can't remember if it's. Let me just fact check this before I say it, because I don't want it to be on wrong.
Everything you said about Friedkin, the way he treats his actors, sounds very like Hitchcock.
I'm not gonna say Kubrick, but like probably not as bad as actually. You know, yeah, Hitchcock is probably more like the Kubrick stuff was a bit. It was fucking horrendous, actually. Thinking about it.
I'm glad you guys brought up Hitchcock, because I know Rob's got a very controversial opinion.
Uh-oh.
Okay, let's.
Sorry,
Let me just fact check this first.
Simon.
No, do it now.
Because I missed which scene it was. You're talking about the explosion. One of the explosions being your favorite parts of the film.
Well, I guess it's the build up to the explosion, because it's him saying it all up, and afterwards him like getting all the bits and bobs, and it's like, you know, hey, you empty out your pockets, and it's just like, okay, it's like, all right, yeah, he's making a little sandbag thing, yeah, it's like, oh yes, that's kind of cool to see.
Yeah, so I've fact checked my thing. So yeah, so William Friedkin was supposed to produce Star Wars, and he turned it down after he read the script. So
Hey, fucking hell.
So yeah, he turned it down. So this interview I found, right? So they basically said to him, after you turned down Star Wars, were you worried about Sorcerer opening like on the same weekend? And he said, no, my only memory of that period was that the studio had high hopes for Sorcerer. None of us could have seen the tsunami of Star Wars. It happened rather quickly. You know, virtually every studio passed on Star Wars. I had a company with Coppola and Bogdanovich, then called the Directors Company. It was financed by Paramount, and we had the right to greenlight any films we wanted outside of our own at a certain budget. Francis brought us the script to Star Wars, and Peter and I looked at it and said, "What the hell is this? Who's going to direct this?" And he said, "George." And I said, "I don't think so." I couldn't believe George could put
Oh,
it.
fucking
I was
hell.
wrong.
It couldn't have been any more wrong, right? It's like, holy shit. Maybe it's just good marketing and good franchise building, I guess. But no, I guess no. Yeah, no. Even then, it's still like it did really hit like everything out of the ballpark for like everyone at that, especially during that time.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's the thing of like you win some, you lose some, man. I don't know. It's like,
Well, you know what? The Exorcist has 2 shit prequels and a shit sequel. Star Wars.
well, I mean, what else did he make again? Apart from
Can't
Sorcerer,
argue
he
that.
made-
You can't.
What? Wait, let me have a
See?
quick check.
You can't.
It's kind of like how, so yeah, like no Star Wars coming, like in terms of how much it would kick off. It's kind of like how I don't think anyone properly foresaw how Twilight and all the others that followed that we're going to kick off. Like, yes, you have teenage films and all that stuff here and there, but Twilight kicked off a whole famous stuff after it, as well as its own thing. It's like, man, that was bigger than expected. I mean, Harry Potter is, I guess, another one. Like, it
Yeah, but
became
Twilight's
huge.
worse because Twilight made afterwards 50 Shades of Grey. That's the reason why that exists, is because of Twilight. It's just terrible.
Fan fiction.
Yeah, it was a Twilight fan fiction. Then afterwards, she just got
But
she got rich.
What is,
I-
it? What is happening?
Oh,
No
yeah.
idea.
Why was some of this shades of grey?
No, because he talked about Twilight, and 50 Shades of Grey exists because of Twilight.
Why was
Yeah.
some about Twilight?
I mean, in any case, let's talk about Star Wars again. There was one person who believed in George Lucas, and that was Spielberg, because he made like E.T. afterwards, or during that sort of like time period, and he says, "No, George, look, let's do it this way. We will we'll share like the profits. Give me whatever happens. If just give I will support this film, and in return you give me 10% of the profits from Star Wars. And when I make ET, I'll give you 10% of ET. Fair? Yeah, it's like, yeah, fair. So I mean, Spielberg fucking made bank on 10% of fucking Star Wars. Jesus Christ.
There's an interesting thing actually with another one of my picks. So when Steven Spielberg made Close Encounters of the Third Kind, that was when George Lucas was making Star Wars.
Oh, sorry.
And so-
Okay, yeah, not ET. Sorry, yeah, that's it.
But yeah, because they were like close friends, they used to like visit each other on set quite a lot, and they had a bet between themselves of like which one would be more popular, because like they're both sci-fi's coming out in the same year and all that kind of stuff, and both of them bet on the other one's film.
Made fucking so much money just saying, "I believe in you. Just give me 10%." Oh man. Okay, but like, yeah, that's favorite scene is definitely like the build up and like the payoff from the explosion of the fallen tree. That's about it.
Even though oh sorry,
Go on.
I was like, even though I sort of missed a chunk of the film for like issues probably my own doing. My favourite scene is still probably the bridge, just because
I think that's brilliant. Man.
the amount of tension that was put in it. Like it's not how do I word it? It's not sort of fake. Like it feels really authentic.
Mm.
I think that even when I watch it for the second time, I'll probably go back to that scene being the best of them.
Yeah, it is brilliant, man. Like I was saying earlier, I don't think you could have that kind of scene now. I think, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I'm glad that this one exists.
I think you could still have the bridge scene now. Like out of all the scenes, though I agree that the actors shouldn't have been doing all of that. Um what was I gonna say? Um they did actually try and make it as safe as possible. Like it went like they built multiple bridges because of things like the river drying up. They had to have guards around them because the locals wanted to basically like do stuff to them and like get them out because of different superstitions. You had different hydraulics and stuff that were done for the bridges to make it as safe as possible. I mean, the truck itself fell in like multiple times to the river. Like it took months and months for them actually to get it done.
Well, that's exactly what I mean. Like, I don't think you would ever find a studio willing to put that much time into a scene like that. So nowadays, it would probably just be CGI.
Good point. Good point.
That's kind of what I was saying to my coworker. I was just like, man, it's so weird to be on the edge of your seat for something, and it's so weird to feel tense, and it's so weird to kind of go like, oh wow, I feel in this scene with these people, and not just there's a CGI backdrop. I can see that the shadows aren't right, and I don't feel like anyone's here.
Yeah.
I mean, well, to play devil's advocate to that, right? If you want more, unfortunately, with practical effects, because of the safety concerns, it is safer to use CG, or you'll get the fucking like Alec Baldwin situations. You know what I mean? And it's like, I mean, like that's technically a practical effect, right? But it's like safety concerns. If it would have been better just to have CG, you know.
And that's the thing, like it's sort of
practical effect isn't necessarily Alec Baldwin shooting someone. Alec Baldwin's a fucking idiot.
I mean, obviously, come on now. That's like you didn't explain that. It's like,
That's good. Usually, practical effect means they put a mask on someone and they painted around it. Like it's.
I mean,
this is the Sorry, they didn't actually film on like a rickety bridge. Like the bridge was like a hydraulic machine thing.
Would you not call that practical effects?
Yes,
or is that
it's a practical effect. But I'm just saying they didn't film it on an actual rickety bridge. Like they built something.
Oh,
had a machine.
I mean, yes, obviously, yeah, man. Come on, man. I'm not.
Yeah,
crazy.
I know, but I'm just saying you're going like the CGI is safer, and it's like it is safer, but it's not to say the practical effects aren't safe. Generally, if you're not a twat and don't check the gun before shooting it. You brought up Alec Baldwin. That's why.
No. It's just I'm trying to think of like safety wise. If it's like if you obviously have the person like running on the road, then him just like CG'd running on a road. Obviously, it obviously looks better if he's actually physically there moving. It's just like obviously without making again. This is playing a bit of devil's advocate. If he actually slips when he's running, obviously he'll never slip if he's running or if he's CG. You know what I mean? I agree with what you're saying. I'm just thinking there's always just like that one, like there's probably that one accident that's going to happen in Hollywood that you go, let's just do mostly CG nowadays because it's safer. But it's like, if you keep doing that, it ruins like movies, kind of. So it's like, yeah, I get what you mean. I feel like it just have to be, people have to have more fucking common sense about being, twats, as you say. yeah.
I mean, that's the
but
thing.
Unfortunately,
I think now we're at a point where CGI just gets used as for the sake of like saving money. So like, if you look at like we were having this conversation a little while ago, weren't we, about how like Marvel films now basically count as animation just because basically everything except for the actors is animated.
Well, you have that scene from Spider-Man: Far From Home where Nick Fury's in like a hotel room and he's got a pistol, and the hotel room CGI and the pistol CGI and the floor CGI, and it's like, fucking why?
Yeah.
Other than like, are you spending that much?
And if
That you
we're
need
not
to go like
careful,
you can't give him a prop gun
Mm.
for fuck's sake.
and if not careful, then Samuel L. Jackson will be CGI in a second. If
No,
he's on
I
there.
trust Samuel L. Jackson to look at the gun and go like, is there anything in it?
Yeah, that's true.
Should I just check it out and shoot it at a wall and not a person? Should I just do that? If I'm gonna just check, like just shoot without checking it. I'm not Alec Baldwin. I'm Samuel L. Jackson. You know, I'm an actual star. I'm an actual professional.
there were a couple of films that have him in there as well, and I wanted to choose. I just feel like I shouldn't choose them now.
Oh, I wouldn't worry about that. We've had Kevin Spacey.
Oh yeah, okay, true. Okay.
The Alec Baldwin one is a weird one because he's probably had faith in the props master, who should have made sure there was nothing in it anyway. But yeah, he probably should have checked the gun as well. But
Well,
like,
he's also a producer.
Yeah,
Huh?
he was
also a producer.
Yeah, I get that, but that wasn't his specific job. That specific job for it to be empty was down to the props master.
Yeah.
But he didn't deal with the situation that well. Like, I don't necessarily put as much blame on it to him, but the way he reacted afterwards is 100% like being quite shitty. It at the end of the day, like, before you hand an actor a gun, just make sure there's nothing in it.
Don't test it out by shooting it at someone's fucking face. I don't know. Like yeah, you trust the prop guy, but
I don't think anyone will anymore.
Yeah.
like
Because at the end of the
it's your name on it. It's your production. You're a producer. Fucking hell, Rob. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you just
at the end of the day, that death had two people's name on it.
What, the thing we just witnessed? Or?
No,
Yeah.
I'm ignoring Rob Mooney.
Jesus.
Wait, I'm not sure if the recording actually shows all of us or just whoever's in the blue screen. So hopefully no one else had to see that as well.
No, I think
I mean,
we need context.
Okay.
I mean, like, it's a difficult one. Like,
I'm saying if I'm a producer and it's my name on the thing and I'm firing a gun, I might just check it out by not trying to shoot someone in the face with it. I don't know. Like, yeah, the guy in charge of the gun is like, obviously in charge, but like, I don't know. Be fucking careful.
it's just it's. I think when you look at who's at fault for it, it's quite a loaded question. Forgive the pun.
Oh,
Like, it's a terrible thing that's like not intended at all. It's a bit of like just poor work on everyone's behalf, apart from the person that took the shot.
Yeah. Sorry. Any other closing thoughts on this film, at least?
it's really good. I don't know why Rob mooned everybody, but
Oh, it's because I wanted to get some snacks.
So what's your
that doesn't really amount.
controversial opinion on Hitchcock?
Oh yeah. So I was saying this to Alec the other day because we were talking about like just how anxiety-inducing this film is, which is also what I think of The Exorcist. And I was saying I don't know why Hitchcock has got this reputation as being like the master of tension when William Friedkin is also here.
I mean, I guess it would be a thing of like Hitchcock did it first. I mean,
I don't know if he did it as well though, because I never really feel much tension with Hitchcock.
He may have done it first, but Friedkin did it better.
I think with Hitchcock, his his films are older and lower budget, and to us, it probably doesn't have that sort of same level of attention that it would have had for like our grandparents back in the day. I mean, each generation, it's going to be different.
Oh, yeah, of course. But I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things where, like if something like Casablanca, for example, can still make me go like, oh, these two people, like I hope they work out, and like it can make me feel all these things that like still feel quite real. I feel like Hitchcock's, if Hitchcock's the master of tension, then I feel like his tension should hold up as well.
Mm.
I mean, I know you hate it, but like, as much as I love
I don't hate it.
No, I mean, as much as you're going to hate what I'm going to say,
Oh, right.
like, as much as I love The Exorcist, I find that hilarious these days. For me, there's not that level of tension that I had when I was a kid. Whereas, shit, forgot the other film, the Hitchcock film, the one that Dan picked.
Psycho.
Yeah, Psycho has more of an element of tension.
I
than I
dispute
feel.
what you're saying because you forgot its name.
Okay, that's
Like Hitchcock for me still, well, Psycho still holds an element of tension that I don't think many other films do, especially The Exorcist. Like for me these days, where I'm a completely different person to the one I was like when I was 12 or 13 when I first saw it. Like that film used to petrify me. But now I just watch that scene where she's stabbing herself in the fanny with this cross, and I just piss myself laughing.
Oh man.
And it sort of then ruins any sort of tension I get in the film. Like the film is still fantastic, but I just have a different feeling.
I think that's really. I feel like really just you.
well,
I mean,
no, Alex, you can't say anything. You laughed at Grave of the Fireflies, you know. So it's kind of
Yeah, it's animated, doesn't it?
Or I mean, it's like fake Hollywood horror. It doesn't matter.
Does,
It's like, you know, you can't say it like that.
does anyone in Grave of the Fireflies get forced to mutilate themselves with a crucifix?
No, they
No.
just have to start.
They-
it
no,
Not the
no,
mutilation, though.
No,
It's
they
the
don't.
fact she looks at the camera and says what she says.
I mean,
It's the whole scene. I'm very childish in general, so it's going to be. I do understand that. I'm probably going to be in the minority that find that scene hilarious.
But I think the thing that's so great about The Exorcist isn't those bits that you find funny now, though, because it's like the bits where I'm getting like, where I'm sitting there thinking like, shit, man, this is like really uncomfortable to watch. Is like when the two priests are sitting in the hallway outside of Reagan's room, and like those moments where they're just like, fuck. Once we go in there, we've got no choice but to like kick this thing's ass. Otherwise, like, what the fuck happens next? Like, it's that fear of the unknown, because it's like, yeah, and it's just seeing the fear in their faces that like it's that whole thing of like, we've had this faith our whole lives, and now we're presented with like the antithesis of it, and it's just it's all of that stuff. Like, it's not Reagan masturbating with a crucifix.
I
I
mean,
think that's what I was kind of trying to get at with my coworker. I was like, she was like, "Oh, you've seen one horror, you've seen them all," and I was like, "Not with The Exorcist necessarily, because like the horror isn't a jump scare. The horror there's basically no jump scares in the whole film. It's the horror of what this demon's making this girl do to herself, and you don't know what you're going to get the next time you open the door."
I think the problem I have with horror in general is like where I will watch certain horrors a lot, and it'll get to a point where because I've seen The Exorcist so many times, what freaks people out generally, I'm like, oh, I know what's going to happen next, and it sort of just takes any sort of tension out of my head. So I just sit there watching it, and then what happens. and a lot of horror does that to me.
I think it's more like the reason that The Exorcist holds up so well for me is because like it's not a horror in the sense that like you're gonna see something that you don't expect. Like it's a horror in the sense of like you've got like a single mother and her daughter going through some really horrible shit, and then you've got the people that are supposed to help her through it also going through some really horrible shit. And it's just like it just kind of like compounds until it gets really, really uncomfortable. Like I don't think that goes away when you know what's going to happen.
So I can only imagine, Rob, if I think you would really, really like Silent Hill video games. I feel like that would be perfect.
I love Silent Hill, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, because I'm about to say, if you like, not necessarily just like the horror aspects, but like the tension and the build up and the horrific things that happen with like the story, I think you would. Yeah, I was about to say you must really fucking like Silent Hill. So I can imagine that being like perfect for you then. Yeah.
That reminds me, actually, I've finally downloaded Ghosts of Shani. Shut your mouth.
What?
Tsushima.
Tsushima, yeah.
That's not a horror. That's not.
No,
I mean,
it's a game that you recommended a little while ago.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's a good. But it's like, I feel like if, oh man, all this video game people just remind me is like, Kojima's doing the A24 is the name of the studio, right?
Apparently, yeah.
I mean, oh fucking hell! I cannot wait when he makes that fucking horror movie. I'm fully expecting to shit myself. That's like my high hopes for this film, that it makes me shit myself.
That would be super interesting.
That'd be too what?
I'll be interested because like he's got his knowledge of it, and so it's like hopefully it lives up to the hype. But then again, we shouldn't hype it up too much, or it's going to be a thing like we hyped it up too much. It's not that scary. So like let's keep our like aspirations to a certain level before we just go fucking like bust our nut or shit our pants over it. You know.
Well, like how everyone was so hyped for his game, and it turned out to be a Postman Simulator.
It wasn't that bad actually. The final boss was actually fucking fun to play.
I've got it here, but I haven't played it yet.
Oh, I've completed it. It's actually not. It does have its moments, but there's a lot of like grinding or walking. Sorry. And it becomes a thing of like, I didn't need to do this, but all the story elements and the acting elements of it, fucking phenomenal, absolute like, fucking Oscar bait winning fucking shit. It's like, yes, great stuff. But yeah, that's future stuff. Hopefully, it gets made. Again, we can only hope. But was there any final thoughts for this film? As my final thoughts was like, I'd watch it again just so I can get a better understanding, and hopefully, with a second watch, I will probably try maybe retroactively score higher. But until then, we'll see how it goes.
I'm really glad I picked it because it's been fun talking about it, and it's been nice like talking about William Friedkin as well. Yeah, it's been a nice call.
I'm glad you picked it.
It was an interesting one. Yes, I did worry if I would watch the right thing, but I realized I would. Bored. Do it. She didn't really properly watch it. Well, she did try, but yeah, I'm just not. I think it made it harder when I didn't hear complete what people were saying, and there being no like subtitles. That made it even harder. She's just like, Yeah, no, I'm not doing this. It was an interesting one. It was I would say it was good seeing a film at that time that's meant to be like in a Colombia kind of thing. And one thing I said, it made sense that he was saying near the oh yeah, I can't go to is it Managua? Nicaragua?
hmm
It makes sense he was like, yeah, I can't go there because that's closer to America. It's where he already was. I'd be interested to know where he left to after that. Um, but yeah, it was yeah, it was interesting. Cool, kind of cool. Yeah.
All right then. Well, Emmanuel, what's your pick?
My pick is Alec.
Is what?
I didn't catch any of that.
Yeah, I heard Alec on the couch. I was like, what?
I'm your pick this week.
No, so my actual pick is actually. Can I actually share my screen?
Oh, this is fancy.
Yes, I think I can do this. I usually
It's good.
at work.
Whoa.
Oh wait! Oh wow! You can do this on.
Yeah, apparently
It better not be Ahsoka.
you resemble me.
No, I don't.
resemble-
I have you.
Don't sell yourself short like that. I don't resemble you whatsoever.
Yes, you do. Yeah. Have you seen this, Rob?
No, I haven't seen it. No.
Okay. Not when you first start watching this, but after watching this, you might understand why at first I was thinking, oh, your pick, Sorcerer, is kind of similar, only for maybe the first 20 minutes. And then the rest of the film is nothing like this film.
Well, that's exciting. I quite like the premise of the pick on that basis.
Wait. Is it like one of those films where again it's like in a foreign language and you could go, wait a second, I thought it was supposed to be in English or something like this. No, was it?
Yeah, no, this is a foreign language. This is a French film. It's French. It's meant to be. So
I mean, we've gone past the point where we ask Emmanuel if it's English or not.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say that for the last film. I mean, this is say so for the last two films Rob's picked. They're both like non-English films, really, technically speaking.
oh, but I didn't check in the chat. What was the last musical I picked? Not last. What was the musical I picked?
Funny face.
Oh yeah, that was. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I do.
Wait, that reminds me. I actually do have a musical in mind that I did pick yet, but like it'll probably be not my next pick of it, but maybe my next pick.
Let me stop presenting. Okay, cool. Yeah, it worked.
So how do you do that? Can you do that on Google?
Oh no, don't let Simon know.
Oh yeah, you can do that. Oh yeah, cool.
No,
I know how to do it now.
I already forgot how to.
Oh, it's literally a button in the middle that says "Present Now." So I guess that's how you do it.
Now, Emmanuel, a very important part, like injunction here, because if this scores really, really well, then the scoreboard will read, "You resemble me, Sorcerer Greece."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was a sentence, wasn't it? That was a sentence that came out of your mouth. Okay.
Would be funny. Oh man. But yeah.
You just need to score higher than 8.1, and we're gonna live the dream.
I mean, I don't know if it will score that high. I mean, I've only seen the trailers, and like I think it'll be okay. It sounds interesting. This is a film that I saw just before it came out. Oh wait, Spike Lee involved in. Apparently, I don't know if I've just been reading something wrong. I'm supposed to.
We've lost you again. You're on mute.
Okay,
Oh no, you're not.
can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
You can hear me.
No, lost you.
This is weird. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I sound weird?
No, you're fine now.
All right. On the poster, it says Spike Lee is involved in.
Spike Lee's involved in it?
Oh, Rob's going to be all over this.
Apparently,
Let's look at the poster. Sorry, just give me a second.
I haven't properly looked at this film, but when it first came out, like in festivals, like last year, before it was released in cinemas, I was interested in watching it, and I wanted to pick it. It wasn't even like out yet in this country. So, and when I had mentioned at some point, Rob, I might have mentioned it. This is what I was talking about. I was like, oh, I wanted to pick this film, but I actually can't because there's nowhere to watch it yet, unless
This was the one. Oh, right, okay.
unless you literally go out to like I guess watch it in some, like Picture House or something, or somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, so it's out now, and I recommend either YouTube or BF5 player to watch it. That's the cheapest places. For some reason, Amazon Prime and Apple TV are a pound more.
Holy shit, it's got two of my favourite directors starring in it.
Oh yeah, this cost.
Oh.
Yeah, it says Spike Lee, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, Spike Lee and Spike Jones are in it.
Oh yeah, good right here. Yeah, Spike Lee as well. Yeah. Executive produced it. Oh.
That's most of Zack Snyder's character design.
You fucking bastard.
That's rude. Well, I hope it goes well. We I'm gonna resemble Alec.
What?
I guess the only thing I was going to ask is when was this set in? Because I'm kind of interested. I'm actually very interested in like Alex's timeline that he's done now. So I'm thinking, well, it's like a lot of these movies we've been watching now is like very 50s and 70s. So it's like, is this like a very modern film, or is this like a bit more of a like set in the more classic or more like 50s, 70s? What sort of time period was this set in?
It's a modern one set in 2015.
Okay.
So
Like,
it's an interesting one. Like what I've read about it, there are mixed views on it. Some are like, "Oh, this is so good." Some are just like, "It's pretty good," and some are like, could have been better." Like, I don't know. Rotten Tomatoes quite likes it. So a lot of like, I guess the average people like it quite a bit, but maybe there are things that could be critiqued about it. I don't know. It won a lot of awards for a reason, I assume, so for festivals. So we'll see how it goes.
Nice, man.
nice, yeah, nice.
Nice.
Hopefully, I can actually get some time to watch it. How about go? I mean, like, yeah, it's just like love work nowadays.
I mean,
But in any case, yeah. Hopefully, so we'll watch this, and so you resemble me. Okay. I'm just very worried it's gonna be like the what's that film with like the two girls that kind of they're like the Lindsay Lohan film where she's like twins getting replaced at summer camp. I was thinking it's gonna be like that.
it's nothing like that.
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, it's
Yeah,
like
okay.
if Camilla was in the room, she would. The name of it. Does anyone here remember it? I can see it in my head. I